Hello, welcome to Fisher Pro's live reading number 2. What number 1 was last week. No Merlot today. Had a little bit of a bust up. We watched his reading last week and he said the audio quality wasn't good enough and that it didn't communicate his dulcet tones well. So I said he was being a prima donna, and yes, one thing led to another, and we got into a little bit of a ruckus. Locked the door by the fireplace. Alan Bates and Oliver Reed, Woman in Love style. It's just if we have a problem, it's just the way we sort things out. So, Fisher Pro's life story number 2. And today, this is a request from my mum, who tuned in last week, and she said, you've got to read The Cleaners. So hopefully she's live now. I've kept her waiting. I'm a little bit late. So if you're watching live, say hello to my mum in the comments and press the heart button for her. And a shout out to the Newport crew. So Sean and Pete, thanks for your support on this. Yes. Okay. South African courage. And here we go. The Cleaners, written by me. The black marble eye of a spaceship the size of Alaska hung over the dead centre of London. Natty fighter jets buzzed past its hulking mass, hoping for a sign, a communication, anything that meant they didn't have to publicly display their impotence in any vain attempt to quell an act of aggression. 10 minutes from now, the blue planet would be devoid of surface life. People stopped walking to work halfway across Tower Bridge, stopped selling goods in their shops, stopped driving buses and hailing taxis and taking pictures of the lights of Piccadilly Circus. They stilled, quieted and looked up, unwittingly becoming front row spectators of the end of time. They watched as the dark eye began to turn in its socket, then faster and faster until it hummed steadily with violet and gold lightning. 10 miles away from Ground Zero, cleaners Dave and Terry, oblivious to any consciousness of impending doom, started to discuss the whys and wherefores of their job. Dave lit up a cigarette while Terry prepped the hoover. Sun's gone in, said Dave, taking a drag and looking out of the window. Every bloody time, snorted Terry. Be out again soon, just in time for a drink. Dave took another drag. How long have we been doing this now? He said, looking at Terry. About 10 years, said Terry. Don't you ever think about the parasites? Eh? The parasites. The critters. When you were whipping that thing around. Don't you ever think about all the pain and death you were causing? Eh? Repeated Terry. No, for exactly that reason. They're parasites. Bugs. We've got to clean them up. That's what we're paid for. Yeah, but... Dave paused for thought. What if those bugs, those parasites, are like us? Here we go, said Terry, laughing. No, seriously, Terry, I think about these things. Dave stopped smiling. What if, just like you and me, the bugs are alive? Alive in the same way you and I are alive. With homes, with families, with jobs. Alive, conscious, thinking like us. Really, said Terry, right now. You want to have this conversation right now? Terry released his hand from the hoover's switch and looked Dave in the eyes. Sparks of purple light from the storm brewing outside reflected in his pupils. He didn't blink. Dave stared back. A plume of smoke circled up from the cigarette idling in his hand. I'm serious, Terry. Okay, I'm listening. Dave relaxed his shoulders, took a casual puff and started his piece. 10 years we've been cleaning, right? Right. 10 years we've been sucking up dust and bugs, yeah? Yeah, said Terry, remaining as patient as he could. Just imagine all those bugs, millions of them. Just imagine they were like you and me but smaller. The corner of Terry's lips curled upwards. He waited for Dave to continue. He wanted to hear him out. So here we are, said Dave, cleaning and cleaning for years and years, and all the time we might have been killing off highly intelligent, highly conscious beings without even a second thought. Dave, said Terry, if they were so intelligent, they ought to be avoiding the cleaning. What if they can't? What if they're too small to? Maybe they've been trying to communicate with us for years, thousands of years, but they never just quite worked it out. And then we come along and bam! All their hard work, all their endeavour, all their evolution, millennia upon millennia, all gone within minutes, just because we need to clean. Terry nodded and smiled. Look, man, said Terry, don't worry about it. It's just part of the food chain. The parasites are the smallest, and we're the biggest. We're top dog. And because of that, unfortunate as it is, we get to go around, eat what we want, clean where we want, build where we want, and farm where we want. That's just the nature of it. If there was something higher up the food chain than us, something more powerful and intelligent, more evolved, then we'd just have to hold up our hands and say, fair play, no harm done, no offence taken, and thanks for all the fish. Dave mused on Terry's words for a moment. Then his lips thinned, his eyes narrowed, and his head jogged up and down. That's life, Dave. We just gotta enjoy it while we can. Terry patted him on his bony back and turned back to switch the hoover on. Let's get this sucker cleaned up. I'm parched. There was a moment of silence before Terry flicked the switch and ignited the hoover into action. Outside on the streets of London, unbeknown to Terry and Dave, fear crippled every living thing. As the electricity that had been building in the air around the spaceship's eye was broken, and violent tendrils of purple and gold terror poured out of it. It was the worst storm the world had ever witnessed. Buildings, planes, cars, men, women, children, dogs, cats, spiders, flies, and parasites were obliterated. They were disintegrated, ripped apart, particle by particle, down to the smallest denominator, as the lightning coursed through the top layer of matter on Earth and atomized it. The dust of humans in their houses and farms and places of work and pets was tossed up into the air like a chef sieving flour. No one was whole, a conscious being, for long enough to hear the sound of the explosion, but if they had been, it would have sounded like a demolition team had rigged up every inch of the planet, from the peak of Mount Everest all the way down to the fleshy pores of Gaia, and ignited dynamite across every square mile of the planet at the exact same moment. The gargantuan events in the spaceship sucked and sucked at the particles of dust that filled the atmosphere. After entering the vents, the dust was filtered and separated and packed away within the spaceship's gills, ready for disposal or reconstitution. It sure was one of the prettier ones, said Dave. Absolutely, said Terry, switching off the hoover. Right, all done. Doesn't miss a spot, does it? No. This baby sucks like your sister on a first date. The joke was old the first time, but they both chuckled. Better call it in, said Terry. Dave looked out of the ship's window, down through his panel of eyes, at the blue planet below. He took a deep breath in through his funneled nose and back out again, before pressing the send button on his radio. Command, this is Hoover C at Genesis 341. The blue rock is clean and ready for seeding. The end. And I apologise now to all the people in London for my accent. Thank you. I'll be back again soon.